That's okay. This is Soulogy. F bombs are allowed, and it's
Oh,
just so you know, it's a okay. Good, it's working. Um, it's a conversation. It's not a typical Q&A, so you're welcome to ask questions. Just two people getting to know each other in front of a whole bunch of people.
well, we can't see
So
them. Well, you can. I'm not
uh,
actually looking at the output.
you're not looking at the output. That's okay. There is a chat from all the platforms. I don't know if you can see that, but I don't reference it too
I,
much. I do keep an eye on it,
I
just
see
in case.
messages from audience. Okay. Okay.
Okay, yeah. So we're gonna give them about another minute and 5 seconds. We got people coming in. Yeah, they're coming. Looks like we got about 35 in there right now. Hey, here we go. Hello, everybody. It's good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see everybody. Feel your energy in this vortex. Hello, India, Davika, Bari, Bronte Sims. Welcome. Haven't seen your name before either, so welcome. Let me just say a couple things real quick. Thank you, everybody, for your continued love and support and contributions. Allow us to keep doing this by the seat of our pants every day. That's not a complaint or a limitation. That's just how the 5D works. Nobody will have a savings account in the 5D. It'll all be in the moment. I also want to just welcome our guest, our first guest. We have 3 days. 3 days. We have 3 days of darkness. No, we have 3 days. I think we just went through that. We have three guests today, and I think we'll probably end up doing 4 or 5 broadcasts today. I'm feeling it. So I want to thank Lenora Pfeffer. Hope I said that right. Um,
Pfeffer.
Pfeffer. Okay, I should
Pfeffer.
have just
Yeah.
pronounced it the way it looked, but I've never seen the actual
Uh,
spelling of that name. That's a very unique name. I want to give her a special thanks because she's one of the people. How can we donate to you? It's we've got a PayPal. It's in all of the. See, what are you on Facebook? Uh, yeah, I'll put it up. I put it up at the end of every show, and you can also find it on the post announcements of the shows at the bottom of the text. Zana Kozar says, Lenora, your light language is beautiful. Okay, I wanted to just recognize Lenora because Soulogy, started in 2012. I was given the name Soulogy on March the 10th of 2012, which is Morgan Lee's birthday, who I wouldn't meet for 4.5 years. Uh, so go figure the synchronicities of the universe. And but anyway, when I received it, I was told open up a Facebook group. I really wasn't involved on Facebook, and so I did, and I just started sharing my, uh, downloads, inspirations, and such without pictures from a flip phone. But over the years, there were many people as the energy, I would call it the third energy uh, of the group, which is then branched out into uh, quite a few platforms. We've got officially about 111,000 last time I checked people that are officially with us. We actually have a reach of well over 500,000 a week, which means that we pop up on somebody's screen and about 22 to 25% engage, which is a pretty strong number, which is all a testament to the energy of Soulogy, which is a small reflection of the universal, which is to add frequencies to an ever expanding vibration. And the two hashtags that we have, I am soul and the human is the hero. But anyway, there's a number of people that have consistently shared their expressions on Soulogy over the years, and as well as on their own platforms and such. And Lenora is one of those people. Not only because from a long time, I was the only admin. We have some great admins now that help us uh, just to keep out the spam because we don't have any constrictions as long as there's some element of oneness in it. And no censorship, as we've been directed since day one. But anyway, she has always, I've always noticed her expressions, her videos, very consistent. Very much, I have a lot of respect for people that put it out there. Not that everybody has a different role, but I love the fact that people can put their stuff out and not look back. Many times people share her videos, and she shares as well at times. And so I just want to say thank you, Lenora, for putting it out there and sharing your energy with Soulogy over the years. And I see you, and it's kind of a uh, it's taken a while for us to actually connect like this, and I'm really grateful and honored that you're here today to share space with us, so we can find out more about you on a personal level. So welcome.
Oh, thank you, Todd. Thank you so much. I'm very honored to be here, especially you have such a large following and such a large group. And I'm not actually used to speaking in front of people. I'm used to just getting out there and just playing music and not forming a lot of words, because I communicate more in frequencies than in words. But I'm going to try and do that a little bit and tell my awakening story, which really sounds so plain vanilla. But I am an ever-changing being. The me that is starting this conversation is not the me that is ending the conversation. So I just feel that I'm constantly vibrating. So I am very much going to be in the moment, but I'm going to share a little bit of my history. I started very, very 3D. I started as a singer, kind of country music and folk music, writing some music. I never made it. I never actually made it or became a thing. And somehow, I guess in my early 20s, I got introduced to fitness. And then I became a little bit competitive at the fitness. So it all became about the body. I wasn't concerned about soul. I was always comparing myself to everyone else. That's really all I cared about. Who's the strongest one on that equipment? Who's the strongest one there? That's really what I cared about. And then I got a back injury and a shoulder injury. Nothing serious, but enough to bring me into someone who does Reiki, which was a known format then for energy healing. And then I studied Reiki and went through the Reiki mastership and did see some clients, although I didn't do too much of that. It was mostly about self-healing. And then I discovered stand-up comedy because it just organically happened through my healing studies, just being in the moment all the time. I couldn't help it. It would just like come up like soda pop, just keep coming up. Then I got back into fitness with CrossFit, again 3D, totally 3D, comparing myself. Who's on a leaderboard? It was 100% as 3D could possibly get, including even the music that was playing was pretty intense music. It wasn't exactly high vibrational music. And then I got into strongwoman, again, competition. And I ended up frustrated with strongwoman competition because I worked so very hard and I never came in first. I always came in last. Even when I was the only one and I came in first, I came in last. So it became very, very frustrating. And I know that I'm judging, but I'm going to allow myself to judge this in a very kind way. It was very either or. It was somebody had to win and somebody had to not win. It was always somebody was first place, second place, or third place. In order to qualify for nationals in strongwoman, you had to be in the first three. If we had enough people, I came in fourth. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but that's like most voted to lose in a competition. But I felt good. It made me healthy. I competed with women 20 years younger than I was, and I felt, oh, I'll show your young people how it's done. Again, comparison, age comparison, strength comparison, all of that. And I started getting on Facebook. And then all of a sudden, Facebook suggested maybe you would like this group. May I name the group, though it is no longer on Facebook?
Of course, of course.
Okay. The initials were MECN. It stood for Meet Earth's Cosmic Neighbors. So I thought, oh, that's going to be a change. There's going to be some ETs hanging around that have Facebook. I didn't know anything. I swear I knew nothing about disclosure, cosmic disclosure, and all of this stuff started happening at once. Star origins? What does that mean? So I just kept reading and watching and just watching more and more disclosure on Gaia TV. And then I happened upon Debbie Solaris, who does Akashic readings. And she's a pretty well-known galactic historian. And I set up an appointment, and she shared my galactic history with me. It was my first session, so it was just sort of a overall tour guide of where I had been, and it was really shocking. I had never heard of any of this. I didn't remember any of these traumas at all. And I just kept going with disclosure, and I just started learning that, oh, there's white hats, and there's there's black hats, and there's good guys, and there's bad guys. So that I'm still in an either or situation. Even during the awakening, I'm still in white hat, black hat.
Right.
Because that's how I was able to absorb all of this. So through this, Debbie told me that one day I would be speaking in light language. Okay, what's that? And she brought me into a group about light language. I don't know what that is. You open your mouth and something comes out. I have no idea. Sounds are going to come out. Okay. I've been a singer all my life, in one form or another, so it was kind of only natural to start singing in light language. And then somebody in the light language group had a singing bowl. And I thought, oh, that would be an interesting experiment to feel the sound frequencies with the vocal tones or light language and singing bowls. So the rest, as things developed, things started to get more and more disturbing. Things started to get political, and there was division in the community. So it was subdivided, not just black hats, white hats. It's what shade of white hat are you wearing? Well, I'm wearing off-white, but no, you're wearing pure white. It was that divisive. That was probably circa, I don't know, before 2020, something before 2020. So it was crazy, and the team that I thought was the good guys all my life turned out it wasn't. So anything that I thought was not. So in terms of awakening, it is like somebody tipped the bed up and in your sleep and you're awakened because the bed suddenly tips over. That's the kind of awakening that I was having. That okay, nothing is real. So I started doing some meditations. I got involved in another group, and I'm still involved in that group, and that's with Carrie Kay, who was also originally in MECN. And she started a Facebook group, and then that moved. And then another group came up from that, where there were more meditations and activations, and I started really feeling more truth. Just more truth was coming in through me. And then there was more division. And the more division probably again happened circa 2020. And during that, it was again among the white hats, but it was among the white hats disagreeing in truth. And that might have been more disturbing to me than political division in the community. This was already physical. This was already something involving the body, where it's do or die. So I've been working on my own inner stability, holding my truth, respecting those close to me who have an opposite truth. And I mean an opposite truth in certain areas where they will swear on all they consider holy that their truth is true. And I will also say, okay, that's true for you, but this is what's true for me. And I consider my life depending on my being in my truth. That is not an exaggeration. It would be nice if it were. So, sort of a offshoot of this has been the service to others or service to self choices. And those are gross exaggerations, but that's pretty much how the law of one divides things. So my service to others has been the music. It's been the frequencies and the singing bowls, because these harmonies have made me feel really good. So I've been sharing that, and it's developed, and sometimes light language blessings come out, and sometimes it's just sound frequencies. In my travels, I also happened upon somebody of I'll say similar vibe, and that's Chastity Ann. I don't know if anybody has heard, if you've heard of Chastity Ann. And I've teamed up with her a little bit because she and I are both pretty animate about the same physical team situation, physical life on the line, really, really important. So we're on the same side. So we started teaming up, and Chastity would lead a Lisa Renee scribed prayer. And I would play certain frequencies that would broadcast from the high heart. So now I'm coming to feel that these sound frequencies can affect the world, can affect every aspect of the world on a molecular level and on a quantum level. So that is the current evolution of what's going on with music and what's going on in my life. I had a personal comeuppance in my life last winter, and I had to give my very first very hard no about something that would personally affect my body permanently, quite permanently. And for the very first time, nothing could talk me out of my truth. No one could talk me out of my choice. No one. And I've generally done anything and everything I could all my life to avoid confrontation. Not this time. No, this time, this has to be this way for me. I'm willing, and I told the other person, I am willing to be here and allow you to do what you need to do. But this is my personal thing. The only one responsible for this is me. That's it. And there's not going to be anything that is inserted into that is not for my good, period. And it was no less than heartbreaking to be on opposite ends of that subdivision when good people make unaware choices. It's just really just very, very unfortunate.
Wow.
Do you have any questions so far about
No, I'm loving it.
this? I'm
I
going through
shared
this.
I shared a video today in Soulogy from Spirit Science, which I'm pretty sure everybody's familiar with. Spirit Science. It's been around for
Oh
years.
yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
And it was in regard to the jab and to COVID. And it was well discussed. And at the basis of it all was what you carry in your essence, in so many people, which is simply to thine own self be true,
Mm-hmm.
and to stay in your own lane and respect uh, the free will choice of others. Uh, but also, the discussion in that short video was in regard to really, I'm just going to use my own synopsis, energy, how everything is energy. We're energy.
Mm-hmm.
And how he gave a couple of examples, both those who might take it and those who might not, and how, from an energetic standpoint, both can and will be uh, founded in the same place, in the same spot. You might call it 0 point or soul highway or whatever, but it's almost like we're going down a path. A lot of people talk about the Great Divide, and it goes like that, but it will come back. I mean, this is part of what we're all involved with. But I do just want to make a couple of points about what you say so eloquently, and one is to thine own self be true. I mean, this is as old as the earth, or maybe even the universe, uh, and the fact that the importance of speaking truth. Now, speaking truth, we would think, as we are coming out of this old paradigm, speaking requires verbalization, opening the mouth, words. But in your message, which is a multidimensional message, you're also speaking. You're also an example, living example of the widening range of truth, which is to be able to communicate the soul essence, the the uh, the truth from oneself through other means, artistic means, sound healing, vocalization, tonality, light language. And I'm with you. The day will come when either this show, I don't know how many more shows, it's been 3,000 now, but it could be another 1,000, it could be 10, where either we're going to sit here in silence and or other means that have no words, or the show won't even be here. Because there's something happening to us all, which is which is an expansion of what it means to share your truth and not to be limited by words. So I very much, before we get out of here, like to think or like to ask you, and then there's no pressure and no attachment. If in 20 minutes or so, let's put some time aside so maybe you could share what you share, uh, in your videos, uh, so that those that haven't seen it, and I have, and I've seen an evolution of it too, I might add, which is so fascinating. Uh, but it's real, and I think it's important. So if you feel moved to do that toward the end, then we'd love to have you do it. But no, I really appreciate your honesty. I really appreciate uh, you know this living example of so many people just recently who are beginning to speak their truth, and also what I see happening as a natural evolution is through this split that you described, that is subdivided and subdivided and subdivided, uh, particularly in the light worker community, the starseed community, disclosure community, that there is a strong, silent um, minority that I believe is powered by the highest truth, and I'll just call it the Great Mother. That which has been suppressed on this earth, and therefore in all of us, that is allowing people to speak without having to make them wrong, which seems to be a natural ingredient into a higher level of oneness, unity consciousness, and the higher alignment that the Trinity energy brings in this age that we're ushering in. So, big props to you. Uh, Huge, because your story is what Soulogy is all about and what we're all about. Because Soulogy is just a word. We can use the Holy Spirit, we can use Chi, whatever you want to use, but you're all about transformation. And what I really love about your story, because I've been familiar with you for a number of years, is that you're all about transformation, and not just transformation in, oh, this is how I woke up and it was a singular event, but it's a constant transformation that requires an openness that is the order of the day, regardless. So again, I just think you're amazing, and I really want to just say thank you uh, for showing up.
Thank
I'll
you,
give it back
Todd.
to you. I'll give you the hot potato back now.
Hot potato. Well, I got that. I was going to make a spike protein joke, but okay, I'm going to try and filter this.
Yeah, you can do whatever
Still,
you
still a
want.
comic at heart. The other day, I cut all the heads off the broccoli. It looked like this giant spike protein. So I did this little puppet show, and I did not get a laugh around this house. Okay, no one found that cute at all, but I thought it was cute. So thanks. So I feel that it's each new moment, and this is why I I cherish the day already when you can open the show and we can just sit here in silence and everyone will just feel the vibrational frequencies, and that will be the truth communication,
Mm-hmm.
and that will bypass the reduction of that into words, because it starts frequencies and then tonation. It starts thoughts, then frequencies, then tonations, then reductions into even light language utterances, and then a further reduction. And here is where it gets interesting: languages. And that is where we do not know what we are saying, because we are using pre-created sound frequencies to create. we're making somebody else's template.
Hmm.
So we're creating by a cake mix through using languaging. So someday I'm really looking forward to that, and I hope to be part of that experiment of just sitting there, and there's no sound. I want to just move that a little bit because I have sort of an ADHD spatial relationships thing. So left is right is left, doesn't matter.
Don't feel like the lone stranger.
I know. So there's a new truth at every moment, not just a memorized truth. What I held as true a moment ago, I have to take with the next breath. Does this continue to be my truth? It's awake at every moment. It's a consciousness at every moment. An openness for that to change and not be solidified into something, not made into a thing. Let it just be until it does a different being, whatever that is, whatever your thought is, whatever your truth is. And that is as authentic as it gets.
Yeah. Yeah. I've recently come into the knowing that authenticity uh, leads to vulnerability, true
Yes.
vulnerability, and that true vulnerability leads to true transparency, and true transparency leads to individual and collective transformation. You know, and unlike you, anything that I share, I'm not saying that I haven't had my moments, and you know, I don't even know, thousands and thousands and thousands of expressions, 5,000 video productions alone, because I have. Uh, but it's always for me. You know, it's always for me, and and I think that's part of the essence that you're talking about, even with the spike protein puppet show in your house. I can kick myself in the ass every single time that I remove something from social media, which has not been many times, but I've done it as recently as yesterday or today, because of anything external that's really nothing more than a figment of my imagination, but that in this quantum field is contributing to our shared reality. So I would rather show my ass and my shadow through the intention of my heart and let it ride than and allow that to enter the collective grid that we're all creating, we might call New Earth, than to remove an energy that I put forth in the spontaneity, uh, intuitiveness, and really the integrity of the human integrating with the soul. So,
Beautifully said, Todd. That really is very beautifully said.
thank you.
Because that was authentic. Who are we to put the delete button on something that was so honest and so pure and
Yeah,
so authentic of a moment?
yeah, yeah. And because what is that saying? It's saying that it's not valid, and really because as the individual goes, so goes the collective. And so really what we're doing is we're judging ourselves. You can say it a lot of ways, devaluing ourselves. And we are made in the image. So I think part of the reason that the universe is always in expansion is because it's contained in your words of always moving towards a higher truth. The truth is not stagnant. Nothing truly is stagnant. I always take it back to what was it like when it was just one? The great mother, the holy womb. And in her in the breath of creation, she said, however she said it, I want some company. I want to see what happens if I split myself. And so something was created, and 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 it wasn't stagnated. The universe didn't stop. And why didn't it stop? Because that was made in the image of which made it. And so she, to me, I use that term, that's the everything. She made no demands, no constrictions, no restraints, and allowed that to be the free energy that it is. And therefore it just continued to split. And here we are. you know.
Continuing, and every cell in us is doing this
Mm-hmm.
because we're universes.
Yeah.
So we are continuing to do that. So why would we censor ourselves
Mm-hmm.
if that didn't happen? If Source didn't do that in the beginning, saying, I'm only going to put this much of myself out there because I don't trust. None of us would be here.
That's right.
So we have to trust our truth as well.
Yeah.
Trust that moment as being meant to be out there.
Yeah. I love to see people, and again, there's many different ways people express, so there's no judgment here, but I'd love to see people who pick up their phone or turn on their laptop camera and start doing whatever they do. And there'll be one person on, or two, or five, and they don't give a shit. They're just sharing it. And I promise you, as in your story you conveyed, that every time you thought you had it figured out, it was the opposite. Every time you thought, oh, I found this group, there's a higher truth, you found out that what they were seemingly waking you up to about something on the other side of the spectrum was actually true within themselves. So, having said that, you get one person, two people, no people on. That is as powerful as an infusion into this collective grid, this new earth collective grid that we're creating, than somebody who gets on and there's 2 million people watching. That potentially has more power because of the intention of the heart and the heart of the intention, and that merging of the free will with universal will and unconditional love, which to me is the holiest triad in this earth realm. So that just gets me. I look at these people and I'm like, oh my God, this is it. And you do that.
Yeah,
I've seen you
thank
have
you. Yeah, I
many
don't
people.
wait. I don't
Yeah,
wait. I don't say, oh, this is so important
yeah,
that I'm not going to waste it on on one person showing up. If I see one person showing up, I don't even wait for them to show up.
yeah,
I've shown up.
yeah.
So whether I see that there's a viewer on there or not, I have shown up.
That's right.
So at this point, I'm doing this for me slash the universe. It's going out there. These frequencies are going out there where they're meant to go out there. So as long as I have shown up, it's on.
Yeah. Which which is a replication or duplication or a continuation of what we all did coming here. And you can follow many
Mm-hmm.
different narratives, but it takes big ovaries and it takes big balls to show up in this realm. And I don't care if you're Hitler or Jesus. I don't care who you are. If you had the courage to step on this earth with a memory swiped, then I think and I know I'm biased, but I believe in this moment now, again, things change, constantly, growth. But I think in this moment, in this eternal moment, we are the darlings of the universe, every single one of us. And I think we're in it now. And every day we give to this fantastical, mystical, unknown uh, incarnation that we're all sharing, more magic, more alchemy shows itself. And you talk about, you know, be laying in bed, like it's like laying in bed and someone tips the bed over. Well, we know everything is a paradoxical frequency, just as you described, as your journey in the lightworker communities and groups. But we're going to flip the bed on the whole collective upside down. The inverse is inevitable. And so I firmly believe, especially after the 10th, 11th, and 12th of this month, and I think many people's intel, mine's more of a gleaning of what's out there and then kind of spitting it out. But based on what I've seen, it looks like I know we've landed. And I'm looking to see the mattresses start getting turned over one by one through all of us.
Mattresses. I'm like the princess and the singing bowl. With 24 mattresses. The other thing I was going to share in terms of frequencies, our sun is changing. So I've been collecting the light codes from the sun. And I'm going to share a personal moment that happened to me 2 days ago where I spent the afternoon crying. And I go outside and the bushes and trees teach me.
Yeah.
And I understand why the berries have thorns, because you have to be gentle to receive the gifts. I understand why roses have thorns, so you can enjoy them, but not rough them up. Respect them. You still have to respect them. As fragile as they are, they're tough as nails, and you respect them. So I was sitting in the sun 2 days ago, and I was crying. And I'm looking at the sun as I'm crying, and I'm seeing the refracted light in my tears. And I'm thinking, oh my God, how do I take a screenshot of what I'm seeing through my eyes like I would through my phone? If I could capture this and totally share the mini squiggly codes and the rainbow rays coming through. It was a message from me to me through my tears. It was a message from the divine me to little me sitting there through my tears, encoded. And it was such a gift. And of course I had to chuckle because no, you can't take a screenshot of your eyes. You can't do that at this point. But I could at least share the narrative,
right,
of that happening in the moment. In every moment, you don't know what the gift is going to be.
That's right. And I think the time is upon us as well, that through the fusion of the physical and the non-physical and all those different polarities, that the ether and the physical, that you will be able to share what you see. And I guess really when you get right down to it, you can now. We can now. It may not be by the terms that the old paradigm in terms of evidence, but in terms of frequency, absolutely. And I'm sure you probably did, one way or the other.
Through my intent, yeah. I know I shared it telepathically to those who can receive that.
Yeah. I'm just giving the next guest a note saying we'll be starting a little late, 5 minutes late. That actually happened to me in, I believe it was 2017, if I'm not mistaken. I was in Connecticut and I went out to this nature site. It was like a stream. I don't remember the time of year. It was cool. It might have been this time of year. And I went out and that's when I was making a lot of spirit walk videos where I would just walk and talk. And I went out and I looked directly at the sun, which I'd never really been able to do because it's so bright. And I'm looking at it and I watched it form these blue, it almost looked like you were looking at the earth and seeing the continents. And I saw these blue things form. And then it exploded, and all this pink auric energy just projected onto me. And I thought the same thing you did. So I thought, oh, I'm going to turn the camera on and I'm going to see what I can do. And of course, I wasn't able to capture it by the hard physical evidence that the old paradigm wants us to have. But I did the same thing you did. I just said, this is what I'm seeing. And it's still happening, right? So, yeah. And I think that's how this whole thing works. If you didn't attempt to share it, then that energy doesn't grow. We might call the possibilities don't grow, but just in your intent. And I think there's a lot of evidence out there right now. I know Robin Roberts, I think is her name. I might have got that wrong. And several other people that take pictures of themselves, but mostly around themselves, and capture all kinds of light code.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
I do that. I put it on selfie, and around me are the light codes. It works very easily with the selfie setting.
Which is you, by the way.
That's what I use. Yeah.
Which is you. That's your field.
Just my field, lighten up.
That's your field. Yeah. It used to happen to me in the old Soulogy studio. People would say, how does that happen? I'm like, I don't know. You know, I had to have like gold lightning bolts come in as I'm doing a rap or something. And they're like, and I don't know. I never knew. Yeah. So do you want to share? Will you share something with us? Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I have the bowls that I use. The high heart bowl, which is an immune support. I don't even need to tell you what it is.
True.
And in fact, it's just my favorite.
That's dope and divine. That was amazing, unique, and just there's no words, and that's the point. I want to thank you so much for letting us into your heart, into your space, uh, and yeah, thanks from everybody. Can you hang around a second? Uh, Once I sign off, you won't. When I sign off, you won't go away. I mean, can you just hang on 1 second?
I'll hit him. I'll stay a moment in the screen here if you'd like.
Yeah, that's
That's
what I'm
what you
talking
mean.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I mean.
sure.
We'll
Yeah.
be back in about 8 minutes with Ryan McKelzadak. Okay, and say goodbye to Lenora.
Say hi
Hopefully,
to her.
we'll see her again. I'm going to sign off the stream.